I'm joined here today by the one, the only, guest I'm always excited to talk to, even though it's only been twice, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. He fight for the title against Adriano Moraes. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Enjoying this beautiful Wednesday. Can't complain.
I see you're doing kind of the media rounds. I mean, you're talking to a little bit of everybody. Do you enjoy doing the media rounds, or has it gotten to that point where you've heard the same question every single time and it's starting to get a little tiring?
It's part of the job. It's part of the job. I mean, been doing it since been doing the mini rounds for a very, very long time. So you get used to them.
Have you noticed the change in the media members? Like even me, for example, someone as young as I am. Have you seen a difference in kind of the people you've talked to since you started to where you are today?
No, there's always been the same ones. I mean, you have the OGs that they made Junkie, Sherdog, they made fighting, ESPN, all that stuff. Every once in a while you'll come across a couple of new ones, and it's good. It's good to see fresh faces.
I've noticed that the thing people try to do when they talk to a lot of these journalists is bring up the gaming and the esports and everything, and so we can relate to Mighty Mouse. I mean, what do you think when you hear that? Like, do you see right through it, or is it just kind of fun to sort of turn away from always talking about MMA?
Well, when they talk about that, it always brings a different side of me out. So I think a lot of interviewers start doing that. But I enjoy it. I enjoy a good game chat.
So when you stream, though, I have to ask this: what do you use to stream? Are you using well, this right here is like StreamYard. Are you using OBS? What are you kind of using to stream?
I use OBS, Open Broadcast Studios.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I mean, was it difficult when you got started to sort of get into that? Some of them can be quite complicated.
Some can be quite complicated, but OBS is probably one of the best ones. There's XSplit, there's Streamlabs. There's a lot of them, but now they make it so easy that way anybody can do it. I love OBS. It's one of the things I've always used from the very beginning, and I would never use anything else.
For sure, I say that I use StreamYard, but OBS is actually free, so I guess in that regard, it would be better to use, OBS in that case.
Shit, you got to pay for StreamYard?
Yeah, and,
Oh,
I get
dog, you got to use OBS, especially. I mean, you can do it live. You can stream the multiple platforms, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, everything else is out there. So I would look into it, man.
well, I've tried to use OBS, I did for interviews, and then it would do this thing where I was like a small square, and then they had my Skype window looking weird, and I tried so many different things, and eventually I gave up. It was like, I guess, OBS just doesn't want me.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because when you try to, the hardest thing with OBS is that you're trying to capture. It's been done before because there's so many people who do podcasts now on Twitch, so it can be done. But I mean, it's free software. It's great.
Yeah, but I mean, if it works for you, though, and it seems like it's worked really well, for getting the following and everything, I guess that's what matters.
Exactly.
But, I mean, have you noticed a change since you started doing the gaming and the streaming on Twitch and stuff like that? Because I assume, like, your audience got to know you a little bit better through using something like that.
Oh, 1000%. They Twitch is great. You get to come in there and we have literally all types of conversations. The other night we're having conversations about Mandalorian and all that stuff. So, and I met a lot of great people through streaming on Twitch. Fans were able to connect with me on a different level.
So, has that been a big tool marketing-wise? Like, have you noticed a difference using that to sort of put your name out there, maybe pick up sponsors and things like that?
Well, when I started streaming on Twitch, I never used it as a marketing tool to you know, pitch sponsorships and all that stuff. If it happens, if it comes my way, phenomenal. That's icing on the cake. But I started to stream on Twitch just to interact with my fans on a different platform and talk about something else than mixed martial arts, right? Because when it comes to talk about mixed martial arts, I get kind of like anal, like you should say.
Do you get, speaking of which, do you get recognized on the streets? Like, do people see you, come up to you, and, wanna fight you because you are an MMA and stuff like that? Do you get stuff like that?
No, I do not.
I've heard there's fighters, like, if they go to a bar or something, like, every guy in there after drinking some liquid courage wants to challenge them, find out, how they do against the best.
Yeah, I don't go to bars, so I can't answer that. Yeah, so I don't go to bars, man. I stick to my 5 mile radius. I go to the gym, and that's about it. I think the last time I was in a bar, I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Speaking of the gym, I saw someone on Twitter mention that they see you regularly at, I guess, the YMCA or something like that. You've got
Mhm.
someone watching from a distance. Is that where you do a lot of training? Well, I assume it's more strength and conditioning in this case.
Yeah, strength and conditioning and my swimming. Right now with COVID-19, the gym is shut down, so I just be able to get my swimming in. But that's where I've been getting most of my heavy lifting in during the off season.
So, what's training looking like for this camp? I don't know if you guys have started yet, or I assume that's gotta happen quickly, but have you guys sort of figured out what you wanna do? And I believe you're also under lockdown in, Washington State too.
Yeah, we're under lockdown right now in Washington State, so that's kind of like the hardest thing we're dealing with, but we're navigating through it. I've already started training prior to the announcement of the fight because I knew before you guys did, obviously. I did some training in Singapore with Muay Thai and the MMA coaches out there. And, honestly, the biggest thing when it comes to training is just staying healthy. Like, just staying healthy and making sure I don't get injured and praying that COVID doesn't, set this fight back again.
And so has not competing in 2020, how has that been for you and your body? Because you don't I mean, you did go through a little bit of the camp when you were supposed to take on, Adriano before and stuff like that. Did that have a big effect on recovering and things like that?
I mean, it was great to have that, break. So I got to take my dog out to go take a piss. So this camera's weird and interesting. Okay, so it was very interesting to do it and have the opportunity to like get ready for a fight, and also it just doesn't happen. It can be very frustrating, but it's part of life, right? Like there have been times I'm getting ready for a fight, and when I was in Canada about to fight Ray Borg, I was getting ready for a fight, and next thing you know, he pulls out because he couldn't make weight. So I've been there before. I mean, it is what it is.
So the thing you're gonna hear a million times, but, I have to ask as part of the job and my own curiosity, but you have your last fight in the UFC was obviously against Henry Cejudo. You guys are 1-1, even though I didn't necessarily agree with the decision in the last one. Is that something that bothers you at all? Is this something that kinda itches from a competitive standpoint that you couldn't close out that trilogy at all? Is that something you think about?
Nope, not at all. Don't think about it at all. I've never been that type of person that gets itch or anything like that. I get itch to want to fight. Every once in I mean, I haven't had that. Let's go, girl. Kick up. No, I don't get those type of itches. I just, sit. Good girl, go ahead. I get that itch. I don't get an itch. I'm not an itcher.
Alright, there we go, that makes sense. I hear people, now you're in one championship, people talk about the fantasy matchups and stuff. You have your title fights, but people have mentioning Fernandez, who we know is your training partner, and then John Lineker has his own as well. Are any of those fights realistic for you, at this point?
Yeah, not the Bibiana Fernandez, but who knows what can happen, with John Lineker and me. And we're in the same organization, so but I can't predict the future. We'll have to see what happens.
Of course, I do with, the training camp earlier this year. I know we had talked a little bit. You weren't training that hard, you weren't sure if the fight was happening. Did you take away anything from earlier this year when you were preparing for him that's gonna help you with the upcoming training camp?
No, you just go right back into it, right? Like we watch enough video, and maybe when the fight got postponed. We already not have a game plan, but we felt confident in the training we are doing that would be very effective in the fight. And now just going forward, we just keep on pretend like nothing ever happened.
And so going throughout this year, are you aware the whole time that this is the guy you're fighting when you come back? Like, are you thinking like, "I know that when I come back, he's gonna be this guy." Do you kinda spend the whole year thinking about him a little bit?
No, you put them on the back burner. I tell people all the time, you spend 25 minutes with this person and they're out of your life. That is it, right? So for me, I've always had that type of mindset when I fight Joseph, Ian McCall, John Dotson, so forth and so forth. You'll spend, 8 weeks talking about each other and to interviewers, all that stuff. So once the fight's done, that person is no longer involved in your life. I mean, obviously when a rematch comes or whatever, then yeah, they're part of your life for 8 weeks, and after that, they're gone again. Then there'll be another athlete, another athlete, another athlete. So for me, when the fight got postponed, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna chill and relax and work on myself, and then when the time comes and it's time to fight, then we'll start watching video again, and then get back into that mode of this is who we fighting. We'll fight, go my way, and do my own thing.
I think it's funny you say that because I think the fans imagine that fighters, you guys have like a wall of every guy you fight, and then you sometimes throw arrow or even with you and Cejudo, I think people think that you go to sleep every night thinking about Cejudo. Someday I'm coming for him.
Shit, no, I think out of all athletes, Cejudo probably thinks about all of us more than anybody thinks about him because he's got fucking pillows of all of us on his couch. So
Yeah, that's true. Do you take responsibility at all for the cringe character? Like, if you hadn't let him off the hook with the trilogy, like, maybe we wouldn't have seen this cringe character. Like, is it fair to say it's Demetrius's fault?
no, I didn't tell him to do that. Fuck that
Zero
supposed to mean? How's
I
that my fault? That's like me saying it's my fault that I didn't do anything. Like that's like saying I am the spawn. I spawned that cringe. No, I think that's people's fault who not want to buy the man's pay per view so you can make some more money. So now he's got to make an ass of himself to get that out.
But that's always been the thing with you too, right? People always kinda wanted you to, like you mentioned, make an ass out of yourself and do sort of a version of Colby Covington and all that stuff. Has that did you ever think about that? Like, was that ever something where you thought maybe I have to do it, or is it just one of those things like, that never even crossed your mind? It seems like people
And
do that.
it never crossed my mind. I didn't, wasn't really my motive, wasn't really my style, and I wasn't really worried about it. So, yeah, I never really thought about it.
But is that what makes one championship good for you too? Because it seems like, their focus is trying to have a more martial arts kind of approach and stuff like that. Like, you don't have that kind of pressure now to, put on some kind of king of cringe, sort of character.
Yeah, I think so. But I think even if I think they would like it if I was throwing like a cringe character or whatever. Like I said, I just focus on being the best that I can be and leading by example. And I tell you all the time, yeah, love me or you hate me. Either way, I'm just gonna keep on fighting.
So you have this thing that's a little bit similar to, some of the greats in any sport, like say a LeBron James, for example, where every time you fight, it seems like it's for your legacy. Say you go out there and something bad happens, that's gonna mess a little bit with the overall body of work you've had in your career. Do you feel extra pressure from things like that from, the fact that people put you in this Mount Rushmore and stuff like that?
Nope. I'd rather do my thing. It's never affected me, and it will. It's never affected me, and it never will. Losses and wins are going to happen in a career, right? So I mean, what I've done, it was what I've done. The past is the past, and it's up for people to view my legacy. For me, I know I'm going to go down to be one of the best to ever do it, and yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna keep on fighting, and if I win, I win. I lose, I lose.
So when you retire, do you think you're gonna be able to kinda take that step back and sort of look back on this body of work and sort of appreciate everything you did? Or you think that's something that, maybe not because you were the one directly doing all that stuff?
No, I'll take a step back and look at the body work that I did, that my team's done, that we've done all together, and be appreciative of it.
Alright, and one last question for you. You're gonna hear it a million times, so you have to hear it too, 1,000,001, but this fight with Moraes, how do you see yourself getting your hand raised in this one and, getting the one championship belt?
I just say it's gonna be a long night. I've been saying that since I've been an amateur, and I haven't said anything else. You're gonna have to fight and see where the fight goes and be able to compete anywhere.
Alright, there we go. Well, thanks so much for the time, sir. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this fight. It's gonna be a great one.
Awesome, thanks, brother.